Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Grunt Speak Live, where the booze and the news are real, but the critical race theory is fake. I'm sorry. I'm Toxic Male, and sitting across from me, looking way too happy with himself, is Terrence Popp.
All right, you titty tumors. Yeah, I made a joke about breast cancer. I don't care.
Oh, no. Hungry Howies in their pink pizza boxes are going to be so displeased with you.
Wow. Listen, I love titties. I really do.
What's not to love?
But I think it's ridiculous that we have whole professional male sports teams wearing these pink ribbons for a disease that they're never going to experience. But God forbid they have some ribbons for the prostate cancer, which a large majority of these dudes, if they live long enough, are going to have to contend with.
Does prostate cancer even have a color ribbon?
I have no idea. I've never seen it.
I haven't either.
No. But,
Wow.
Speaking from experience, I mean, I've never had prostate cancer, but I've had to go under the knife and have that region cut on once.
The butt donut.
It fucking sucked!
Well, I'm glad you're sharing.
I'm just putting it out there, man.
I feel like I'm closer to you already. Woo!
Hey!
Speaking of good times, getting their buttholes cut open, we want to introduce to you our guest tonight. You have seen him on Project Veritas. I don't even know if just saying that is going to get us banned. But let's take a quick look here so you guys can acquaint yourselves.
I don't want to destroy the news. I don't want anybody to get fired. I want people to change and realize that they are supposed to be objective.
I challenge you to stop thinking in terms of objective journalism, and we'll discuss why that's not really feasible anymore.
1, 2, 3. Bullshit! Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Mauser and his buddy, Jeff Price. Thank you and welcome to the show.
All right.
Thank you. Excited and really excited to be here.
Well, like when I watched you on that show, and they're talking about being objective isn't needed anymore.
It's not feasible. And
it's not feasible because they're giving you propaganda.
Yeah, that's exactly my opinion. If journalism is not objective, then it's not journalism, it's propaganda.
It's propaganda. And if you attack propaganda with the objective mind, using logic, reason, facts, and truth, you destroy propaganda pretty much a few steps beyond the starting line. Exactly. It will not stand up to scrutiny. It doesn't.
It never does. That's why they have to, control the narrative by changing the definitions of words, redefining what fully vaxxed means.
Yeah, the whole
which is why
scale.
And you have the major networks and the big news organizations sticking up for one another. And I mean, if you go onto I know like Wikipedia or whatever, and look up places like Project Veritas, they label them as propaganda and that it's deceptively edited. Just the clip that you showed. How is that deceptive? That's their own words.
Yep.
And that's the truth, and they'll still deny it.
I love watching it when he has like a hidden cam and these people are just talking mad trash. It's like, what the fuck?
The funny thing is, just before we were getting ready to go live on this stream, Pop's like, I need to refresh my memory and watch that video again. So I'm like, okay. So I go into YouTube and I search Brett Mauser, Project Veritas. Guess what didn't come up in the search results?
Yep.
I had to go to the YouTube channel and look for it myself.
No, there's probably one that comes up where it's a criticism of me, where they call me an old white dude that's afraid of the truth.
Yeah, that's apparently a successful argument now if you're a leftoid. Well, you're just a white male.
Well, I mean, we come up with, what's the word we use? Phobists?
Yeah, you're an ist.
A phobist, istophobe.
Istophobes.
Or an acist.
That just sounds like somebody who cheats at cards.
I know, but I'm just telling you, like, if you're one of those people who actually uses logic, reason, and, you have the receipts, you pull that stuff out, they can't argue the fact or they can't stick to the point, so they try to silence you with blame, shame, and guilt, and they use certain words that they think are going to instantly shut you down, and the right and the libertarian mindset out there no longer obeys that rule.
That is one thing I will give Trump, is that he kind of, it's almost like he was Secret Santa for the GOP and was like, here, balls. Here, you can have some. I have plenty. Because, I mean, probably, he called me an ist. I don't know what to do. Now you finally have some people on the right who are just like, I don't give a fuck. You can call me an ist all day long. I mean, my actions speak louder than your whining. Thank God for that.
Yep.
Well, I've said that one of the reasons that I'm not afraid of the attacks and whatnot is because, you know, when you come after the guy that made a movie about a serial killer in a bunny rabbit outfit, and then you read the Netflix reviews, there's not much you can say about me that I haven't already heard.
Or my personal favorite, the woman who fucks a chair.
That was good.
Oh, yes.
Bite the pillow, bitch!
That was good. That was hilarious.
Well, thank you for being a part of that. That really made it. That really put it over the top for me. That was a.
Oh, that's what made it over the top.
All right,
Can't
so
love a woman and understand him. Just saying.
I say that all the time. So what was your motivation to getting on the Veritas show?
Well, I had always seen the bias in the news when I was at a news station in Corpus Christi. I left there and I made my movie Vosot, which was sort of my first, I guess you could say, kind of whistleblowing, where I wanted to show what it was actually like behind the scenes. So it had always been there. But then when I became the promotions producer at Ken's several years ago and was watching the news, the meetings, the 2 p.m. meetings, just constantly one thing after another, it grated on me. But it wasn't until about a year ago when they had the multicultural training that that I said, you know what, I'm going to record this just so that I can bring back to my management and whatnot and argue and present my arguments against it. And I would have the evidence. At that point, I had no intention of going anywhere with it. But it wasn't until the what shall we say, the Democratic Day of the Dead, is that what?
The Democratic Day of the Dead.
Back in November, that Project Veritas did a story here in town about something that was going on, and I said, "Hey, are we doing anything about this?" And a few days later, they said, they sent me an email back. Oh, we just decided that we looked into it and and researched them. And Project Veritas, they're just a right-wing organization, and winds up this whole thing was just a hoax. And then, of course, 2 or 3 months later, the woman was arrested, and still didn't do a story about it. So at that point, I contacted them. And it was a little bit after that we had our anti-bias journalism class, where there was a lot more of this spoken about. And that was where I was back and forth. Do I want to do this? Do I want to come out? Do I want to talk to people about this? But it was that last training that we had where they were breaking us into sections, and I was halfway through it before it hit me that it was Marxism, that this was dividing and separating us into groups, where we even had that poll where you're supposed to order people, order these things of importance to you. Is race more important than sex? Is sex more important than orientation, socioeconomic status, politics? And they're asking us to order these. And I was putting in the little chat because we didn't have open mics. And I was like, well, what if I don't care about any of this? And I was just told, well, just do it anyways. It's like, okay, so you're training us to break us into these categories, and that's what they're trying to do, is divide us as a country. And as Jeff and I talk about on our show all the time about history, how important history is to watch. I just watched something about 300 and the Battle of Thermopylae, and how that brought the Greek Empire together. That everybody was just in little tribes, but they had something to rally behind, and they became Greeks at that point. And if you look at the reverse of Venezuela and all these other places that are trying socialism, they're dividing us and breaking it. They divide you into groups of oppressed versus oppressor. And that does nothing but create a rift and that division in the country that eventually brings about its downfall.
It's the metaphor about eating a chicken, is you can't just shove the thing in your mouth. You have to cut it into pieces. Mm-hmm. And so anytime you're going to destroy anything, you have to cut it into pieces.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
in the military, we talk about flanking. We talk about you never attack the whole thing. You talk about going from behind and attacking the trains instead of the guys up the front. You never attack from the front. You always attack the smallest group you can. And that's what they do. They try to break us into smaller and smaller groups.
Yeah, I talk about that in my book, The Soldier's Soul and the Warrior's Way. Yeah, I cover that. Frontal attacks are very expensive.
Yeah.
That's why we typically don't like to fight like the Russians or the Chinese, how they used to do the human wave thing. We like to multi-prong attack. We like to have control of the sea, the land, have all the variables in our back pocket before we start turning up the heat on our opponents during a war operation.
And you guys are taking this so seriously, and I'm over here like, okay, I just heard something that men don't want to hear and something women don't want to hear. Men don't want to hear you can't just put the whole thing in your mouth. You got to cut it into pieces. And women don't want to hear you got to hit it from the rear.
Well, women need to hear that shit.
Phrasing, guys, phrasing.
Phrasing, context. Context.
With that in mind, here you go.
Hey! Rat bastard.
Yes, I am. One of the things that we did want to talk about tonight before we, circle back to the subject here, one of the ways that they have been unquestionably trying to divide everybody is CRT. Of course, this is how they're going, hooking them while they're young, so to speak. And what I love about this is that Democrats still cannot seem to come to a consensus on whether or not CRT is real. It's like right here, Dem-US candidate Jeff Jackson says CRT doesn't exist. This was July this year. Deny, deny, deny. And then Democrats say CRT-linked doctrine doesn't exist in public schools. Parents and teachers say otherwise.
Yep.
But, CRT doesn't exist. But don't worry, if it did, it'd be really good. It'd be really cool. All the cool kids would be doing it.
Now, my thing is this, though, is this CRT, it's basically a substitute for the Communist Manifesto.
Well, it's Marxism, but substituting race for class warfare.
Yep.
That's essentially what it is. And it's hysterical because its main premise is self-refute. That this country is so systemically racist, it's corrupt, we can't trust it, it's terrible. Okay, how do we fix it? More taxes and socialism. So you want to give the same government that's systematically racist and corrupt that you don't trust more power? Shut the fuck up, bigot! Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay,
That's what
Space
I
Ghost
thought.
is on. I'm going to go over here.
Those are the same people who say that we need to defund the police, even though, but the same thing is we don't need weapons because the police are there.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
that's just stupid.
Jail.
Like, I remember the whole Rittenhouse thing. The cops were nowhere near the mayhem, and they weren't going in there.
Because they were called off.
Yeah, they were held back.
Yep.
So, in my opinion, the city, the mayor, everyone involved in that decision need to get fired and sued into the Stone Age.
Amen to that.
Yeah, and the Thanksgiving this year, of course, that was a topic of conversation, and to have to present to them things that relatives had never heard on TV before.
Yep.
They didn't know about this. A lot of them still thought that that he shot 3 African Americans.
Yep.
And there's just no, they don't see that truth, and they're not presented. They don't even watch the trial. I watched the trial, and that was my rebuttal. It's like, well, did you watch the trial? Well, no. Well, how do you know any of this?
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons that I did this was for my relatives, for my friends, for people out there to be able to arm themselves with showing that no, they're not. They're teaching us not to show you both sides.
It's
Yep.
correct. In
And
fact,
you should never underestimate how dumb a progressive can be.
Amen.
actually, I have pretty much gotten rid of all of the progressive people in my life. All the libtards, I do not want to be exposed to their stupidity. I don't like talking to them because it always circles back to some crazy ass horse shit. It has nothing to do with reality, and it's based solely upon their feelings and how they feel about a certain
I had an
circumstance.
argument with a coworker, and it was over the Second Amendment, and his final. It got kind of emotional and yelling a little bit, and he was like, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm just really passionate about this." I said, "Yeah, well, Hitler was passionate about the Jews, didn't make them right."
Absolutely correct.
And being passionate about something is a surefire way to get it wrong.
To a degree.
If your emotions are leading the pack, then you've kind of lost sight of objectivity at that point.
Yeah.
You
Well-
have to be willing to reel in your own biases and perspective in order to see reality on its own terms. And leftoids are completely unwilling to do that. That's why they have to change the definition of words, deny, until they get what they want. Then it was totally their idea all along.
Yeah.
Way.
It's absolutely insane.
Yep. Even something
and
that
that's-
doesn't exist, we still have to rebrand it.
Yeah.
Even though it
And
doesn't
you'll
exist.
in the newsroom, you'll get emails that say, "Oh, you're not allowed to say this. Don't use this term. Use that term. It's no longer illegal immigrant. It's got to be migrant."
Yep.
And that in itself is presenting a bias and pushing an opinion in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you are in this country and you snuck in here, you are here illegally. Therefore, you're an illegal alien.
Yep.
I think that's pretty objective right there.
Yeah. Which is a legal term in legal government document.
How dare you?
And they're willing to throw that all away because it hurts the illegal illegal immigrant hurts his feelings.
But half of the time they don't speak English anymore.
How dare you?
I'm sorry, I had to.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh yeah, of course. And then what Demi Lovato said, we can't even call extraterrestrials aliens now because it's offensive to them.
Oh, how dare you? Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
that.
we can't even watch movies with Ellen Ripley anymore because instead of alien, we have to call them undocumented. So fucked.
Yeah, that
Damn
would
it.
actually be the undocumented.
Yep, and everything is a dog whistle now too. I love this. Parental rights is a dog whistle. CRT doesn't exist in schools. Stop saying woke. Sure.
Your term, girl.
Woke was their term.
That's right.
And
Y'all
then all
came
of a
up
sudden,
with it.
yeah, MTV all of a sudden decided, hey, stop saying woke. Like, didn't you motherfuckers come up with that?
Well,
Now
The problem is,
bad.
once again, it's the idea is now woke has the phrase has outlived its usefulness to them. It's the same
because-
thing when you had people calling out Kavanaugh when they were trying to get him put on the Supreme Court. Everyone, people were coming out, but as soon as he was put on court, these people vanished.
Yep.
Threw him over the side of the pickup truck, and no one cares anymore about
Has
them.
anyone heard diddly dick of Christine Ford since then?
No,
I
and
have
that's
no
the whole idea.
I have no idea why that woman isn't getting the fucking
She got
shit
tossed
stewed
out of there like the first white bitches off the Titanic.
And the
gone.
thing is, when for the progressives, is I don't know why they don't understand this, but when you outlive your usefulness, overboard you go.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
woke is
actually
just one of those things.
they're actually called useful idiots in the Communist Manifesto, and they are the people that are expendable, and they use them to get their political goals. And once they get there, well, you can just check out the numbers of dead for yourself, because those guys get wiped out.
What was that?
the first
Was
ones
that
to go.
Night of the Long Knives that you did a video on?
Yep.
Yeah. That was some sadistic evil shit right
Well, that was Hitler.
Yep.
He did Night of the Long Knives, and he basically had the brown shirts,
Yep.
and then his SS, and the brown shirts were getting too powerful and could be like basically a threat to him.
there.
So he basically, one night, he got his cronies together, and they chopped the head off the snake.
So
And
they went for brown shirts, and then the night they got killed, they all had brown pants.
no, that's funny. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
It's probably what happened. But they basically killed all the leadership, and then the brown shirts were welcomed into the Nazi organization with open arms.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hilarious thing about guys like this. The CRT doesn't exist, but we have somebody who's literally willing to threaten an entire town full of people with 1,000 soldiers who are locked and loaded to defend his right to CRT.
Good. Get them.
Get them.
I want to see that.
Go for it.
Are you going to be able to get 1,000 people in one area and nobody, has an AD and shoots themselves?
I got nothing.
Because every time they get together, they seem to have these little problems of people getting shot. I'm just saying. I don't know.
It could be.
No, and that's a fact.
Yeah. Well, the people who are like this, they're stupid enough to believe that if they win, they're going to be party members. Mm-hmm. The brown shirts thought they were going to be party members. They were going to be the ones calling the shots. No. You're useful idiots, and when you outlive your usefulness,
you get the idiot treatment.
Yeah. Take notes, Antifa, you panty fascists.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize, a lot of the people I know who are kind of that way don't understand what I've always called the history of brutality. Is whenever you are a part of an organization or you deem yourself part of an organization that is going to make these big changes, what you have to understand is the farther along it goes, the greater the power becomes and the more vicious and brutal people will become to get it.
Yep.
And unless you're the one with the biggest knife or the biggest gun or the most blood on your hands, you're not going to be at the top of the food chain.
No.
And I've had to explain that a number of times, using specifically the Nazis, using the Pol Pot in Cambodia, using the Soviet Union as an example, and talking about over and over and over and over and over and over again how in a situation where you have these kind of movements, once it starts really rolling, you have to understand the people who are involved are not the people who are going to live after it's all over.
Yeah.
You're just not.
They're the pawns.
Yeah. And trying to get it through their heads is so impossible, because I after the bias training, I had talked to a coworker and said, this is Marxism. And he said, well, I don't see it that way. I don't see how you're drawing that conclusion. And that doesn't. And my response is, well, it's blue is blue. The sky is blue, the grass is green. Just because you don't think that way doesn't make it not so. You really need to look at this and see what it's doing. But they've got that, what's the word I'm looking for? Just
confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They've got
and they're in an echo chamber, and they think that they're right and that this is a good cause that they're fighting for, but they don't understand it. I've tried to express that, yes, we don't want racism. We want to get rid of that. But this is, and we're willing to sit down and talk to people about it, but this isn't the way to do it, because if you take a 5 or 6 or 10-year-old child and teach them to hate one particular race, that's not going to end. Yeah, it's not going to end with us holding hands singing "Kumbaya."
No, you're not.
When Bill Maher is telling the liberals, you need to stop. When he's telling, when he's on the one, when he crosses over and says, a colorblind society is what we're after, and woke is not doing it because that's all you see is color. Yep. When Bill Maher is saying that, when James Carville is saying that, maybe you want to take a look around, because if they're now right of center,
I know.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and they don't seem to realize that the whole woke thing is costing people money.
Yeah. And lives at this point.
Yeah, Hollywood has been taking bath after bath after bath on these woke-ass movies they keep putting out. Hell, Disney has killed Star Wars with their woke-ass horse shit. I mean, you want to talk about the biggest the easiest layup you could have ever had.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You buy Star Wars for $4 billion. You have 30 years of fans that are going to come along. And all you got to do is pull some of the canon books off the shelf, write a couple new scripts, make those movies, and make an ass load of cash. But no.
No, can't do that.
Yeah. And that's our show started talking about how to make films for no money, and that was what we wanted to do. And of course, that we will bring up topics like Mary Sue's and Gary Sue's, and it blows our minds that these are businesses. It's supposed to be a show business, and when you see your wallet just ticking down, why do you maintain that course? And these stories go against buy any book in the library about how to write a good story. These things go against every single one of them. When we made Lady Lawman, it was about the first female deputy in the Old West, and it was shows like yours that we took advice and listened to, complaining about. It's not that we're afraid of female characters. That's not it at all.
No.
We want good female characters, and that's why we took this character and made sure she went through trial after trial, that nobody liked her and she really had a tough time with this, rather than just have everything bestowed upon her.
Yeah.
It's the biggest problem. One of the things about the Star Wars movies in particular, because it's a subject we've talked about on what went wrong a lot.
Yeah,
but trying to tell his film students, don't do this.
Yep.
It's when you get a character and everyone loves them and they're overpowered and they can do anything and they have no character arc, so no one cares.
Yeah, nobody wants to read the book about the dude who's filthy rich, never loses, bangs the prom queen on his wedding night. I mean, nobody cares.
No one cares.
It's such a boring story.
Yep.
You want to see the person who is here and something happens to him, and in the next scene something else happens to him, and the next scene something else happens to him. One of the things that Brett's always talked about is, how do we screw with the character, and then how do you screw with them now, and then how do you screw with them now, and that's how you write a story that people want to learn, or people want to watch, people want to read, people want to do. And to take the heroes that people had in the characters of Star Wars and to have them turn into some kind of demonized fossils that you just want to kill off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened with the Disney sequel trilogy.
As you mentioned, you took these characters, you just pull out, Grand Admiral Thrawn and some of these characters, and Mara Jade, and these characters that we've been reading about for 20, 30 years now, and show them doing the things that people want to see them doing. And you're right, they're going to knock the theater doors down to get in there.
Yep.
But instead you had wokeness. Instead you used your politics. Instead the Force is female. Well, no one cares. And you bought this property for $4.5 billion. You should have made $20 billion, and you still haven't even made back your purchase price.
Yep. By the time you're done factoring in all of the advertising and bullshit, they're way behind.
They're way behind.
They're way behind the power.
And that's why The Mandalorian was such a surprise to me, because I had given up. And then in the second season, all of a sudden they were doing everything right. And then there's that one moment when Rosario Dawson puts a lightsaber to that bitch's throat and says, "Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" I'm like, thank you.
People lost their mind when they saw that. And talking about female characters, I mean, that was the biggest thing they were trying to say, that the progressives and the left was trying to say, oh, you just don't like female, you're misogynist. It's like, beg your pardon.
Where?
If you want to talk about film just in Star Wars, let's talk about The Mandalorian alone. Bo-Katan, Cara Dune, Ahsoka Tano. Some of these are people's favorite characters. Yep. When Ahsoka Tano showed up with her white lightsabers in that episode, people, if you watch the reaction videos, people lost their minds.
Yep.
Because it was a character they wanted to see, because they loved her from a show before.
Yep.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with them being female. It's because she's interesting. It's because she had an arc. It's because people cared about her. And Dave Filoni knew that. Yeah.
She didn't just show up and know how to do everything. I'm sorry, it took Luke Skywalker 3 movies to do the Jedi mind trick. Rey does it on her second try in the first movie.
Well, it's one of the things. One of the things we talked about is I was actually watching that movie on an airplane from Tel Aviv to Brussels.
All right.
Just flying home from some work, and I sat in the back of the airplane and watched that movie. And at one point, I had my headphones, and I said, "What the fuck?" I mean, actually, on the airplane, I said that out loud. And I was like,
all right.
And it happened. It came to the point when this desert rat who'd been growing up, living in a beat up ship, and who's driving around like the the desert version of the beat up Harley Davidson that she assembled out of kitchen parts.
Yeah.
And yet she gets into
The Millennium Falcon.
And knows how to fly it well enough to go through a destroyed Star Destroyer.
Yep.
And I'm like, guys, I was talking about that, and I was like, look, if I took my friend Brett Mauser, who's a really smart guy, but if I gave him the controls of a 747, do you think he'd know how to like turn the engines on?
No.
And
but
on
somehow
top of
she just
that,
knows how to do it.
She knows how to fix the Millennium Falcon, and Han asks her how she did it.
How does she know how to do
Are
that?
you kidding me?
Yeah.
He's been flying that ship. Look, I've only been on the airplane I've been on for 6 years, but I know how to do all kinds of stuff on it. And nobody, like, say, him, is going to walk on board my aircraft and go, oh, look, the comms out, click, and flip a switch and do something. And I'm going to be like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
See, the people watching it are like,
so hang on, let's take a break here. Can we get a count?
We'll take a quick break here. We're being throttled because we're only up to 767 people on YouTube.
Okay.
Let's jump over to the split screen here. What do we got here? 71 on D Live, 63 on Odyssey, 34 on MGTOW.tv, 61 on Twitch. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. Much appreciated.
Give us the likes, man. We need the likes.
Give us the likes. We're only at 403 likes. So, guys, help us out by sharing this stream. Clearly, YouTube is throttling it. I don't even think I got a notification before the stream went live.
Yeah. We've been getting that problem a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. That might be my problem. My fault.
I figured that when we put this up, with Project Veritas in the title and put your name in there, that we'd get fucked a little bit. But, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's what new tech is for.
What are we going to do? So, have you had any negative repercussions so far for doing what you did?
Well, not that I wasn't prepared for. Not that was too devastating. I'll see how some of my job interviews that I've been on recently will go. But I kind of figured that some of those were, when in the interview itself, they start bringing up, well, how do you feel about diversity and equality and quality of outcome versus equality of opportunity? I kind of at that point know, well, it's not going to go very well.
Yeah.
There was the when the story first came out, there was the initial Tegna response, which was the company that owns Ken's and all the other channels. Came out and basically doubled down on teaching it, and basically blamed people like me for the reason that we need this kind of training. That my assertions were wrong, and I misunderstood what they were trying to do. Even went so far as to say things like I was secretly taping this. And I was like, well, they were recording it as well. And it's not like it was anything covert. I was just sitting at my computer recording the training. And that I was non-news. And that was sort of their defense. But I was kind of like, well, I was required, the sales team, the production teams, they didn't have to watch this training. It was only for the news department. So why was I mandated to be in this training if I wasn't news?
Yeah, getting voluntold. I hate it when I had to do that in the Army.
But yeah, fortunately, I haven't. The thank yous and the prayers have massively outnumbered any kind of the negative that I have received. But mostly, it's been with just some family members that were a little not too happy with it, but you just have to deal with it, and just my leanings as it is are always going to cause that rift. So it's just something that's a part of my life.
I got you. So do you have any upcoming projects?
Yeah, well, we've just released some. We about a month or so ago, we released a movie called Tag Conspiracy, where I was able to get into a little bit of that journalism, and one of the main characters is a reporter who doesn't understand journalism and is everything that we know journalism to be today, and the other is the cameraman who does have that knowledge of history and pushes her to become a real journalist. And that's just one of the little arcs that's in the story. It's actually set in the future where guns are outlawed, the Constitution's been outlawed. It's a dystopian action film, and a guy from present day or 20 years ago wakes up and has to navigate his way through this world. So it's a pretty cool little sci-fi cyberpunk adventure.
All right.
I'm looking for other projects to do right now. I've got a bunch floating in my head. What do I want to do? I want to focus on our channel a little bit, try to get a little bit of audience there. And then really would like to continue spreading the word and talk about the downfall of journalism and how it's degraded and how we as a people need to come together and what we can do to stop this. And I think the first thing is arming yourself with the knowledge, and hopefully I can start giving people that by coming here and other shows to talk about the other things that weren't in the Project Veritas video that were said and spoken, and some of the training that they're going through, so that when you yourself are at Thanksgiving dinner and have to have that argument, you can point to the stuff that I presented and other whistleblowers and other people have brought forth, so that you can go and defend yourself against the attacks.
Yeah, but it's absolutely ludicrous to me that we have to defend ourselves against attacks which have no basis in any type of facts, logic, reason.
Right.
Well, you know that your society is going off the rails and into the abyss when the truth becomes offensive and people have to hide from it and rally against it and whine and cry and get an ASU student, to quit school, basically to expel himself because you believed the lies and not the truth.
Now, you're talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing at the ASU, right?
Yes.
All right. So if that was me, I would make them drag me off the fucking campus. There's no fucking way I would quit. I'd be like, fuck y'all. And then the lawsuits would start flying. I would sue the living shit out of everyone. And I have no idea why there hasn't been a litany of lawsuits filed by Rittenhouse by now, because he's had a year.
Oh, it's starting.
He's had a year.
Well, now that he's been exonerated, he can. Before that, he couldn't.
No, but he could have lawyers prepare it.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to be coming out rapid fire now.
Yeah.
Because the way I think, everything is war. All right? You're doing an operation. You never do an operation unless you have 2 or 3 courses of action. Like the operation fails, okay? Operation succeeds, but not as much as you want. You have something else to do. You always got to have that next level of strategy and actions that you got to take.
Yeah, we had an episode about Plan B, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, Plan E.
Yeah, in the military, it's called PACE. Primary, alternate, contingent, and emergency plans.
Emergency plans, yeah.
And everything has, at a minimum, 4 levels to it. Yep. So if you're like one of those guys, like, I don't need all that shit, we're going to be successful. No, you're not. If you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Murphy sneaks it in there and just jams it in, just the tip at first.
Yeah.
But then when you least
That's what
expect
the Frago
it,
is for.
on balls dirt.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I try to teach my students in film classes, that it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Period. End of story. Ever. No. So be prepared. Have your backup plans. Know what you're going to do when, not if, this fails.
Yeah, because they will all. Listen, no plan survives initial contact. It just doesn't happen. But yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know, man. This whole thing has just got me. I just never thought, after being all that time in the military, when I retired, I'm like, I'm just gonna go chill and do my thing. I never thought that I would literally leave from one arena of warfare into another one. It's because we're in informational warfare. This is what's going on, and anyone who doesn't acknowledge that is out of their goddamn mind, or they're a pre-programmed sheeple. And that's just how that goes.
And I think that has a lot to do with it, that a lot of these journalists today. Now there are a couple out there that are commendable, but a lot of them don't really have a grasp of history or an understanding of that concept, and what kind of damage they are doing. in one of our recent episodes about the Project Veritas, you had a great comment about how this is affecting our military.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of people who watch my stuff who are in the military, and I get some emails from those guys. The craziness that's going on, it is insane.
A lot of my old friends and some guys that I know, of course, with the debacle that just happened in Afghanistan, it just opened up all these wounds. And I've talked to them on the phone, and they're like, dude, America said they would never do Vietnam again, but here we are. And we come back and they'll say, thank you for your service. But in the very same breath, they talk about toxic masculinity and misogynism and how the military is rife with racism. And they're like, dude, we don't care what color we are. One of the things I've always said is like, look, I didn't even like some of the guys. Well, I didn't like most of the guys I was in the military with. I'll be honest. But I knew without a shadow of a doubt that these guys would charge into hell to retrieve my dead body.
Yeah.
And they all knew I would do the same thing for them. Whether I liked them or not, as a material, we all wore the flag. We all had the big red one. We were all there doing the same thing. And we depended upon that. We depended upon each other, whatever the hell was going on. And then we come back to the States. Well, I came back to the States. You get out of the military and everyone hates you. And everyone hates you because you're a toxic man or because you don't think the way they think. And everyone's talking about civil war and using the words, and you try to get jobs at businesses and you don't fit in because you don't agree with some kind of woke theory on whatever.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely tearing apart the veterans world. Some of these guys who are, I'm lucky. I came out that damaged and I channeled everything that I had into another career, and I've jammed it. That's what I did. That's how I rescued myself.
Uh-huh.
A lot of these guys don't have that.
No, and that's another reason why I do the Redonkulas, is a lot of these individuals, if you go in the military and you need to develop a sense of humor,
Yeah,
or you'll go crazy.
you will.
And these people, they get out of the military and then they forget that sense of humor, and then they have life, piles on, one lesson or one pile of shit after the other, and they self-delete. And if you could just get that sense of humor and reawaken it and laugh, a lot of that stuff is not as bad as you think.
Yeah.
So
I tell guys, it's like, look, when you are sitting alone by yourself in the middle of the night, staring out the window, that's not the time to make life decisions. Okay.
No,
it's not the time to be doing that. Okay. You've had entirely too much to drink. You've had entirely too much time to think, and there's nothing but darkness outside. Don't do it then.
Yeah.
Okay. But once again, some of these guys, that's all they have. And that the sunlight's way, way, way off at that point for some of these guys. And it's too hard to sleep. And I understand, but the issue I have, and one of the reasons when he was going through this, I said, no, you have to do this. You absolutely have to do this, is because I was hearing from these guys even years ago. It was like, what's going on? What the hell did we come back to? When did this happen? They went off. I mean, I joined when I was, 17, 18 years old.
So did I.
I went off as a young kid, not knowing anything about anything, and I went to college and then went back to the military. I mean, it's just, that was all I knew how to do. And some of these guys, once again, didn't have some of the opportunities I have to get out and do something else, or they didn't know them, or they just couldn't handle it. And so where are they now? And all they turn on television, and what are they watching? Every single day, all the time, 24 hours a day. It's all they see. That's all they hear. And it's killing them. It's absolutely killing them. I've always had problems with reporters anyway. We had reporters embedded with us in different places we went.
Fuck them.
And I was telling Brett, I was in Kosovo one time, and this reporter from a 3-letter news organization was asking me if we thought maybe weapons were coming across the border with Iran. In Kosovo.
Oh my.
Iran.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, I was like, do you have any idea where you are right now? I was like, you're above Greece and Macedonia. He's like, well, is that near Iran?
What the do you have a fucking, oh my God.
This is 22 years ago.
Wow.
Okay. And these are the people that I'm talking about and watching Vosot. If you haven't seen his, I don't necessarily like pushing his stuff necessarily, but it is a very good explanation of the guys who on the news TV station are the same idiots that you work with wherever you happen to be.
Yeah.
And the same dumbasses.
Speaking about the embedded reporters in Iraq, there was 2 different occasions that I had a vehicle get added to my convoy that was full of, media people.
Jesus.
And literally, both times, I'm like, yeah, we're doing a re-lineup. Can you move your vehicle over there, please? And you'll get further instructions. And then I would give everyone the convoy briefing, and we'd leave. And it's leave them back there, fuck them. And I got yelled at hard. You never do that again. They're supposed to be your convoy. And I'm like, look, sir, this is how it is. They're civilians. I'm not. If they get fucking clipped or they do stupid shit, then I'm in trouble, or I have to risk my men's lives because they're fucking stupid. They shouldn't fucking be there. I am not doing it.
I'll let you mention it.
I'm not doing it. You can write me up now, and I will appeal it, and I will see you at the court martial.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the experience with the reporter just wandered into a minefield.
Yeah.
What?
They're out there.
He wanted to get some pictures, and he just kind of walked out into a minefield.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I had one, like, at Baghdad at International Airport. They have all of these vehicles that have been destroyed, and they have triple concertina barbed wire around them because they've been hit with depleted uranium. You don't want to breathe that. Once that gets in your body, you're never getting it out.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to leave, to go back to Abu Ghraib, and I look up, and there's like 4 of these dumb motherfuckers on the other side of the barbed wire getting pictures taken on T-72 tanks that have been blown up. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Yeah, they're like, we don't work for you. I know you don't work for me, but that's depleted uranium, and you're going to get fucked up. Okay? So, I mean,
Breathe deep.
You don't want to listen to me? All right, well, I'll wait here on the other side of the barbed wire till you come out, and then we'll kick your fucking ass so you won't do it again, you motherfucker.
So that was the problem I had, was these people who were just the same dumbasses that people work with, but they're saying and doing and reporting things that are affecting my brothers and sisters. And I just
get people killed.
I hate it.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was on the ground. I saw things happen. 2 hours later on CNN, that's not what happened. At least a dozen times. And that was back in 2004. And it has exponentially gotten worse each year until we're in the nightmare scenario that we are today.
Back then, they would just selectively edit stuff and present it in a way that seemed to go with what they were saying. Now, there's a riot in the background, buildings are on fire, it's mostly peaceful.
Yes.
They're trying to edit the reality that you're seeing with your own 2 eyes. They've gotten that brazen, that narcissistic.
Yeah, and you were mentioning something earlier, how we can fight back against that. Don't give them your eyeballs. Don't watch their shit.
Yep.
If they don't have the eyeballs to justify the amount they're charging for the advertising, for the placements, it's gonna collapse, because
bye-bye.
they gotta. I mean, their infrastructure is very expensive to keep and maintain.
Yeah, and it's not just it's disheartening sometimes to watch things like the Charlie's Angels or the Star Wars get slammed at the box office, but they keep doing it. They're not learning their lesson. But it's just one of those things you just got to keep at them. But it's also not just turning their eyeballs away from them, but turn your eyeballs to the people that do tell the truth. The people like the Veritas.
And that's what I'm trying to do, but it's really tough because we get throttled by YouTube.
Yep.
Where our videos aren't recommended, I mean, we've had to fight off multiple strikes in the past. I mean, it's insane.
And it just seems like it's spiraling even worse the last few months.
But let's just look at the reality here. 4 years ago, YouTube was basically the only show in town. All right, they started doing their crazy ass horse shit, and now we have a presence on like over a dozen different platforms.
I think the people that we have to reach are, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but the normies, the people that are just independent, the ones that I don't care about the news. I just want to watch my TikTok video. I just want to watch my YouTube video. Those are the people that we need to come over to those platforms because they're the ones that are keeping it alive. Those are the ones that are keeping the YouTubes and the Twitters alive.
You don't have to tell us.
Yep.
After not using the main channel long enough to let the strikes drop off and having 2 archive channels on YouTube and multiple channels, some of them with almost 20,000 subs on places like BitChute, we did our first broadcast back on this channel and we're just like, all right, show of hands. Who thought that we gave up?
Yeah.
And an embarrassing number of people admitted that they thought this was the only place that we broadcast to.
Yeah.
Even though there have been links in the description of every video that we have posted for I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
And they're there all the time like, you guys should get a P.O. box. It's in the description. You guys should get a BitChute channel. It's in the description.
Yeah.
You guys on Brighteon? In the description.
Because they're Z.
I just say it.
Just can put it out.
Yeah,
there.
we have that difficulty trying to. I mean, especially with actors, sending them emails. Be here at this location, and then they'll. Well, where do I need to be? It's in the email that I just sent you that you are replying to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we get that difficulty. But even when we're trying to buy advertising at different places, if you search typical, some types, or you want to advertise with certain search terms, YouTube will block it.
Yep. MGTOW.
Yeah. That's
Red
one
pill. Yeah. You can't use those words.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you sent me that screen grab when you tried to put MGTOW as a keyword, it's like you can't advertise with us.
Yeah.
Wow. Just wow.
You don't want my money? All right.
All right.
We'll find someone else.
Never mind the fact that you've been.
It's like none of these people even gone to an economics class that you keep politics out of your business.
Yep.
Well,
and it's not so to watch a retailer that has absolutely no business deciding what my personal beliefs are, doesn't want me to shop there because I believe a certain way. How does that make any financial sense whatsoever?
It doesn't. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, you're not allowed to be MGTOW, but she's allowed to be a feminist. Well, feminist just means that you don't need a man to be happy. MGTOW is you don't need a woman to be happy. Why is one hate speech
and the other one's
and the other is fine?
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
why does 75% of women say they're unhappy right now in the United States?
I know.
Well,
and 25% of them are taking a head med of some type.
It's more than that.
That was more than that.
I mean, that stat's 11 years old.
It's probably 1 in 3 now instead of 1 in 4.
Yeah, and we know that a majority of liberal women under 30, which means most women, because most women tend to vote leftoid, have a mental illness. So,
yeah,
I'll let you do the rest of the math.
I mean, that's a fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
All right, now one of the main reasons MGTOW exists is we as men, we've been destroyed in the court system. We've seen our fathers destroyed in the court system, our grandfathers. And if you're a really unfortunate motherfucker, you saw your great-grandfather get hammered in like the 70s or 60s.
Yep.
There's no upside to being married. There is no upside to being the breadwinner, the protector, all the other horse shit that we're, supposed to do. There's no upside to it. So why should we participate in that system? That's all we're doing. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do my own thing. Fuck y'all. I'm out. And then somehow that's hateful.
Because you're not giving women access to your resources.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what this feminist push since the 60s has been all about. To take all accountability for decisions and put that on men, and then take all of men's resources and transfer those to women.
Absolutely correct.
Well, it was all about trying to get also we want men to stop acting like pigs. That was supposed to be the thing, and then instead they became men.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
so
it's
now
like
we're all
masculinity
pigs.
is so toxic, but we're going to embrace all of these masculine behaviors and pray that you don't catch on. We're doing all this stuff because men can do it. I thought masculinity was toxic.
Yes.
Well, that's been the problem with women characters, women shows, women movies, is they're telling women, okay, to be better, you have to be like men. But wait. But being a man is bad. Yes, but to be a better woman, you need to be more like a man.
Yeah.
But you just said that men are bad, masculinity, toxic, blah, blah, blah. That is correct. And so whenever we're going to make this movie, you got to fight like a man. What? Didn't you just tell me that men are bad? Yes, they're evil and bad. Men shouldn't act like men, but women can, because that's the only way to be a better woman is to be more like a man.
Yep.
So being feminine, being a woman, that's not allowed. You have to be more like a man, even though being a man is bad. So therefore, being a woman is bad unless you're like a man. That's okay, but being a man is bad.
Uh-huh.
Or if you're a man and you decide you want to become a woman, you can be Woman of the Year, proving that even men can be better women than women.
Exactly.
I like it.
You know, everything from the Olympics to sports. I mean, when you have women who are no longer able to compete in women's sports because men, she-male, I don't know what the hell
him,
to call them.
she's. The him, she's.
He, she's
Chilean
are
she-bass.
kicking their ass in wrestling and track.
Everything.
And everything.
Yeah, you don't
And
really
so it's
see it
like,
go the other
so
way.
what you're telling women is basically you're never going to be as good of a man. Even if you act like a man, he's always going to be able to outman you. And the only way to be a good woman is to be more like a man. And it's small wonder that women are just kind of going, the fuck out. And women are like, you know what, screw this.
Yeah.
It's stupid, I know.
Maybe that's
And
why
even
all of a
women are
sudden
giving up
there's
on it.
78 genders, is because they realized, oh, well, if this is how it is, then we're never going to... We'll just split it up and do a freaking rainbow spectrum of shit.
All right, hey,
And
so
then we'll be fine.
we've been going for 55 minutes. Let's see if we have any super chats.
Oh, we got a lot of super chats here. We also have a sponsor for today's show, and I apologize for the video randomly disappearing for sound yesterday, but tonight's sponsor, Kevin's Concealment.
The first wave, well, that was about voting. Wah. The second wave, that was about the pill. Double wah. The third wave, it was about securing more rights than men. And because we let it all happen, what does the fourth wave look like? Find out and arm yourself against the war for your
that's the
soul
wrong
and
one.
this country.
Whatever.
You need these books here. Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism.
I just keep fucking this up.
Volumes 1 and 2. They're on sale now.
Click
you
on
ever
the
get
link.
tired of women staring at that bulge in your pants? You know what I mean. Come on, lady. My eyes are up here, right? Well, thanks to kevinsconcealment.com, there's a cure for that. And at the same time, you get to exercise your Second Amendment rights at work and not get fired. You take your bulge, put it in the holster, and voila! You guys thought I was talking about something else. That's a homo suspicion point. Space Ghost is on. Go to kevinsconcealment.com and check out if they have a holster for your sidearm. Use the discount code POPP, P-O-P-P, links in the description.
Oh, God.
Boomer Blake strikes again. I just can't seem to get the damn sponsorship.
Oh, it's all right, bro. It's not a big
But
deal.
hey, you know, we got those books up on the bar. We got the concealment holster up on the bar.
Got it
It's
right
all
here.
good time. Yeah, there's the bulge.
That's it.
Keep
That's it.
your eyes up there, ladies.
Yeah. Don't be meat gazing me.
Oh, well, I mean, they really should be meat gazing you a little bit more, because if they did, they would actually know what's in the description.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're going to jump over to Streamlabs first, read off some super chats here. I know we got a lot of questions here tonight. Polska Bob, 12 hours ago. Dude, you're jumping the shark on that one.
Wow.
$25 donation. Gentlemen, beer monies. Okay, Blake, it's time. We're going to break Pop tonight. Oh, shit.
No.
Oh, here we go. Hang on. UrbanDictionary.com.
Oh, God, no.
The Slovakian traffic cone.
Oh, that can't be good.
No, it really can't. Oh, my. The Slovakian traffic cone is the act of stuffing the small end of a regulation orange traffic cone into the anus of your partner, and the jizzing, puking, and pissing, shitting into the traffic cone. Then you take a plunger and force the concoction through the traffic cone into the girl's intestines. She then takes a large dose of laxatives and craps out the concoction on your chest while wearing the traffic cone as a hat.
What the fuck?
Who comes up with this shit?
It can't be real. It can't be real.
There's going to be like one dude in the description. I've done it because I'm different and I love you.
Maybe that's how those pansexuals do it.
That's quite possible.
Who knows?
Although they might use pots and pans. You never know. Shark dentures. Question: what's the difference between LeBron and Rittenhouse? Answer: Rittenhouse doesn't miss his shots when under pressure. Not my joke, but I thought you'd get a laugh from it.
Not bad, not bad.
I like it. Yeah, because LeBron is an ass blaster from outer space. Oh, here we go.
Oh, no. Tallahassee.
Tallahassee gas mask.
Oh, this can't be good.
Okay, there's two here. Crusader Nate in the Stewie voice here. Okay. Tallahassee gas mask. When one splatter farts into a hotel-provided shower cap, sneaks up behind a loved one and pulls it from their face like a gas mask.
That's how you get killed right there.
That's how you get.
That's fucked up.
That's how you get boiling water poured on your face in your sleep.
Well, actually, that's the hot oil wake up.
Sounds very Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
It's good times. Tracy Wilborn. The prostate cancer ribbon is purple and pink, and it's rigid when it gets excited. That's a good one. I like that.
All right.
E3 dick fits too well. Tipped $20. Thank you very much. Have some funding, you perpetually horny ass, loose looking investigative cocks.
All right.
Wow.
That's a mouthful.
It is. That's what she said.
Roger.
Bring the inevitable, truthful demise to the modern day Pravda pushers. Wow. Two from Shark Dentures here, back to back. I agree, Blake. Emotions should hasten the pack. Riding on the sled from behind with a whip, not lead the pack.
Absolutely correct.
And he says here, the victor in a revolution is always the one who successfully killed off all his peers after winning. Seems to be how history writes it. Dumbmaster 12 with a $10 donation. Winston Churchill once said, a lie gets halfway across the world before the truth can get its pants on. So how do we combat/kill lies when the truth has such a disadvantage, especially when fools believe the first thing the party tells them to believe?
That's actually, if we can answer that question, we can win this war.
Well, if we could answer that question, a lot of people could win all kinds of wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's a valid point.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never had more tools to pull it off than we do today.
Correct.
And I think that's why they are cracking down and attempting to sanitize and censor the internet so much. It's because it won the 2016 election for an outsider that terrified them to their core because it threatened their globalist circle jerk.
Yep.
And just look how much they have doubled and tripled down in the last 5 years since.
And they're going to keep doing that until they get to two-way rifle range.
And
Pretty much,
yeah.
I mean, they're not learning.
Yeah.
And they're just getting more brazen about it. And there's going to be that point where somebody's going to be like, you know what, fuck this.
And they're stupid enough to think they can win. Dynaside 13. Another white pill today. After growing out my hair for a decade. Wow. I donated all of it to Wakes for Kids in memoriam of my grandma. I took Pop's advice and went with a crew cut. But I forgot about my cowlick up front. Noff.
Yeah. Crew cut's good.
It'll work. It'll be fine. Oh, boy. For a sergeant, too much ass. Munging while fucking upside down.
Dude, that's just horrible.
Why would you even do munging while fucking right side up?
Yeah. Dude, that's a felony.
Yeah, I mean, can we just stick with the last half?
Dude, you're fucking with dead bodies. I mean, you're going to prison, and you're going to get killed there for being a corpse mow.
Wincest. It's terrible.
Corpse
I mean, although
molester.
that's fetishized now, Twilight, because at the end of the day, when you boil it down, that's necrophilia porn for girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite disgusting. And on that note, I'm going to throw a straw. There you go. It's big and black, just like your.
You're gonna get me sued, bro.
I'm just saying.
That's rumor control.
Rumor
It's
control.
allegedly.
I understand.
What are you doing?
We got a lawyer now.
I don't want to get sued, bro.
Triggers McNickers. The accelerating number of leaks and whistleblowers gives me hope. For this means that Brandon's masters failed to purge all patriots from the system.
Yep, and you know what? It only requires, I think, 6% of the population to say, "Fuck no, we're not doing it."
Yeah.
And guess what? It's not happening.
Yeah. Provided you don't get Epsteined.
Yeah, well.
Sharpshooter James. Hey, Blake, are y'all going to talk about how Fredo Cuomo was indefinitely suspended from the clown news network, or as I like to call it, communism, not news?
I've heard about that. And he was, doing some shit to help his brother out?
Yeah, wasn't he, trying to
Trying to hide
intimidate
some
these people
details.
and stalk them and shit, harass them?
I don't know the details. We can cover that on Thursday, though.
What do you guys know about this, Jeff and Brett?
I've just heard that that they're looking at letting him go because he was giving him cover. He was not investigating certain things, and he was hiding stuff about him.
Okay.
CNN has had some changes in leadership, and apparently some of the guys are not very pleased with the way things are going.
Because
Because
they're
they're
losing
losing-
fucking
They're losing so much
ratings
money.
and money.
Yeah, but Brian Stelter lost 3/4 of his viewership after Biden took office.
Right. And so the problem they're having is, I say the problem they're having, the problem that some of the guys on CNN are having is some of the leadership of CNN is no longer going to let them, be CNN the way they have been. And he's like, no, that's not okay. And you got to go.
Yeah.
So
You know what?
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, one, we'll see what happens. Two, I say, just fucking take CNN down, MSNBC, take them down.
Yep.
Just remove them. I mean, if they've done nothing but propaganda, fuck you, you're done.
Well, basically, if you are a multinational corporation and you are receiving any money from outside of this country from globalists, your news cannot be trusted. You have no allegiance or loyalty to this country.
Correct.
Gone.
Yeah. That's what we
Because
need to-
Fox is literally nothing but controlled opposition.
Correct.
Anybody who thinks Tucker Carlson doesn't, cry himself to sleep on, $100 bills, thinking about all this shit he wishes he could cover, you're just delusional.
But here's another thing that people don't seem to understand because they're dumb. Money talks and bullshit walks. If you are a news anchor and they're paying you $150,000 a year, they hand you shit to read, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? This is fucked up. They're like, all right, I'll get the next lackey. We'll give him 150. Fuck you, you're gone. That's why we have all these people willing to say the craziest, untrue shit on camera.
Yeah.
Because most of the people out there don't have integrity.
And we'll pay you for it.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't the
that's-
judge actually have to rule that Rachel Maddow's program wasn't news? I mean, we already knew that, but it was hilarious to see it legally acknowledged.
But yeah, you had a great point, Pop, about the money. There are reporters and anchors that I've worked with in my past where they feel the same way. They see this happening, but they're so close to retirement, so they don't want to do anything, or they like that big paycheck, and they're just afraid to stand up and do anything about it.
I know.
So it's out there.
Yeah.
You sound like you're kind of far away from your mic, Brett. Did it fall off of you?
No, it's still there. I'm
Okay.
gonna-
I don't know why. Just for some reason, it seemed like you were kind of far away from it.
So we're
I just wanted
gonna,
to make sure it wasn't like you weren't trying to make your penis talk to it or
Yeah.
something.
So we're gonna give you
Sick
the
bastard.
redonkulous warning, which is unfuck yourself.
Dragoon 444. Hey Blake, look up the dirty Chewbacca. I want to say we've already
Oh
had that on
God,
this
no!
show.
I think we've already
Don't
done
do
this.
that.
It's like, oh no, don't do that. There's also a dirty Chewbacca with a Portuguese breakfast. We have to look at both.
I don't need to see
No.
that.
When a girl is deep throating you, you pinch her nipples right as you explode. Her scream, compared with the warm liquid in the dick in her throat, will produce a sound similar to Chewbacca's growl.
I told you not to.
I thought it was pretty good. What about the dirty Chewbacca? What is the other one here? Dirty Chewbacca with a Portuguese breakfast. What the hell is this?
It can't be good.
When a male or female grows his and her pubic hair extra long and his or her partner barfs on it, then they must perform oral to the person's area who has been barfed on. That is the dirty Chewbacca. Then you crack an egg in the person's ass who did not get the dirty Chewbacca and bang him in the ass with your pubes covered in barf. All right, I think I'm done.
That is insane.
I'm done.
It can't be real.
I can't even finish that one. Why is that a Portuguese breakfast?
I have no idea.
Somebody really had a bad time with a Portuguese male or female.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
That shit's just nuts, man.
Somebody went down there expecting the Brazilian beach volleyball team and wound up finding the crying game.
Which is they're pretty hot.
This is bad news bears. Patriot of the West, Odin bless gentlemen, harvesting my mate's crops when I get paid. Big donation coming your way. All right, thank you very much.
Cool.
Harvesting your mate's crops. Is that a euphemism for something? You trying to come out of the closet?
I think he grows Mary Jane Diwana.
That's quite possible. He doesn't really have that money for a big donation. He's just high. Jeff on the bound. They keep saying CRT doesn't exist, although as though parents haven't been remote learning / homeschooling for the last 2 years. We see what they are teaching.
Yeah.
Amen to that. I mean, you've seen the conferences of these school boards. They start reading what they're assigning to the kids. That's obscene. We can't have any obscenities. There are children here. Oh, okay. So you can teach this shit to my kid.
But I'm not around.
But I read it back to you and suddenly it's obscene.
Yeah, I got you.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, if they want that to stop, there's enough veterans in this country to run for the local offices and shut that shit right down.
Yep.
Shut it down.
Just happened in Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah. And I hope it continues.
Yeah.
Alternative lifestyles for men. Good evening, gentlemen. Riddle me this. There is no way to test for the Amakoof. You know, if you mix the letters around, it spells moronic.
I like it.
So with that said, how do they know it exists? Well, there's actually no way to test for the other one either. That's why they were using PCR, because PCR just tests for viruses in your body. And after 35 cycles, virtually anything in your body is going to yield a positive result.
Yeah. And I think a buddy we had on the John Orban.
Yeah.
Yeah. His PCR test that they use, that they put together, I think it only goes to 26.
Yeah.
So
that makes a little more sense. But, when you're deliberately overspinning it, it's almost like you're trying to drive the numbers up.
Yeah, and people who are afraid are easily manipulated.
You got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Evil Zombie 2, immigration requires paperwork. Without that, you're invading by definition. I'm an immigrant. I get to say that.
Correct. And I did a whole video on that. And it's the fourth wave of war.
Yeah, migrants are the new weapon of war.
The new invasion.
Yep. I mean, you look at the no-go zones in Britain, all the different various countries in the European Union.
Listen,
I mean, it's terrible.
If I was running the show and we were having a tiff with England, I would do them a favor and I would drop 10,000-pound bombs on their no-go zones and would clear it right up. It's all over.
It's technique, not the preferred method, but it is decisive.
Hey, look,
and it gets the job done.
If you have 4 city blocks and I can't get within, a half a mile of it without, because it's just ungovernable, I'd rather turn it into a pond. Stock it with fish. 7 years later, you can have a picnic outing and go fishing. It'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if I was in charge, which I'm not.
That's how much the British have changed. I mean, now they're willing to let parts of their country be completely ungovernable, whereas before they would have sent several, battalions of dragoons in there with rifles to machine gun everybody.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They were pretty good at doing that to Ireland.
They did to Ireland. They did to India.
Mm-hmm.
Did it to us?
They did to us.
Yeah.
I mean, Britain has essentially, they've gone completely off the rails.
They're pretty much as bad as Australia.
Yep.
I mean, it's something I've told people when they talked about Britain and Australia, take people's rights away. It's like, guys, I know you think that over the past 250 years, the British have stopped being British, but they were British for several hundred years before we had to deal with them. And they're not any different than they were before. Their food's gotten a little bit better just because they've imported Indians.
Well, and their teeth have gotten better.
Yeah,
they've dentists.
But I mean, these are the same madmen that were trying to, keep the colonies down, that were trying to keep their empire together. These are the same despotic individuals who were more than willing to execute every one of us and walk through Bangladesh and Bangor with dragoons, just killing whoever went up against them. These are the same people.
Yep.
They're not, just because several hundred years have gone by, don't think that they're not those people. They still are. So when they're taking your rights away, it's not like they haven't done it before.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
It's the same thing with the leftoids, the Democratic Party in the U.S. They are still the party of slavery. They just
follow that all the way up.
Just like they've rebranded critical race theory as social and emotional learning, equity and racial justice. Welfare is slavery. Like they've figured out a way to just have people willfully walk back onto the plantation because, hey, free shit.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that Brett and I talked about was separate but equal. I was like, I thought we got rid of that back in the 60s, but now
they want
it seems like leftists want to have separate dorms for people of different colors and separate facilities, people of different colors. Like, look, if you want to have separate water fountains for the different colors, separate restaurants, you want to put people in the section of the bus that they used to be in, that's fine, whatever.
But just call it what it is.
I kind of thought we got away from that. I mean, some dude got into Washington and said something about he had a dream, something content of character, something. I mean, something crazy.
something dark side.
Just seemed to me that if we want to regress to 1945 Mississippi, I mean, we can do that. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to go very well for the people who think that it's going to go very well for them.
No, it's not. Like, I've been saying that for a long time.
It's got dark in here.
Look, if it goes two-way rifle range, you're going to see the population of this country pack up by race and religion, just like it happens in prison. And that's a fact.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dum, dum, dum. Maybe the Texans will be Texans because that's who we are. I don't know.
Yeah. Jonathan Y. 2 days ago, my parents tried to force me to get the jab. No jab, no college tuition. Guess what? They gave in and I didn't. Self-respect retained.
Amen.
Yes. Outstanding, sir. Good for you. Rusty Shackelford at Jonathan Y. Well, he did a good thing. Yeah. Thank you very much for your donation, good sir. Travis Wolf. And did it skip thing. Fuck that. The sad reality is once the fall of the power structure, all of them will be chicken with heads cut off. Look at what happened in the USSR after Stalin's death.
Oh, it was nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a little, speck of what that was like having our guest on last week with Z.
Yeah.
And that was in Georgia.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in the main hub. That was nuts.
That whole area of the world, when the Soviet Union came down, they were royally fucked.
Bad news. Justin, Star Wars is dead. Now we have Galaxy's Edge to get our sci-fi fix. Look up Legionnaire from A Galaxy's Edge. You'll love it. 131 Victory Company, KTF.
All right, yeah, sure. I'll check it out.
Sweet. Scuppin, $10 from Australia. Thank you very much. Somebody's awake on the other side of the world. The only worthwhile female lead in films was Ripley in Alien and Aliens. I'd have to throw in Sarah Connor as well. T2. Not Dark Fate.
No, that was stupid.
Fuck that.
I will not give them a penny of my time, or I will not watch that movie.
Jim Silver wants to know, is there no live on BitChute? No. BitChute announced live streaming last January. Still waiting.
No action has happened as of yet.
No. They've slowly started to upgrade their upload system. So that's a little different. So now that that's finished, maybe we'll see live streaming in the future. As soon as it's available, we will be on there. Smooth Criminal. Omicron is an anagram for moronic. Imagine that. Hey, I was just saying that. Smooth Criminal again. Hey, Pop, can we have a segment called AAR?
AAR. Oh, After Action Review?
After Action Review.
Yeah, I suppose we might be able to do something like that.
Hey, didn't we were talking about doing like Redonkulas Theater 3000 with you and Senior Airman Richard Fitzwell. talking about like Killdozer and
Yeah.
those other movies.
The guy stole the tank and went nuts in California. That was hilarious.
He could have done so much better.
Yeah, he could have.
DeWall, Bill Meyer, one of the guys who was the foundation founder of these organization and movements. Truth is, he's against it now because he's terrified of being Me Too'd. Watch his stand-up. It's coming. Nice. Oh, Bill Maher, I think, is one of these. Must be talking about it because it says Bill Meyer, but maybe he's talking about Bill Maher.
Yeah, that's probably who it is. Yeah.
I don't like Bill Maher. I don't like that dude at all.
Well, the funny thing is he's about 2 years behind the curve, but he's still 2 years ahead of leftoids. So it's like he sounds like the sane man in the room, but like, hey, we were telling you all this shit 2 years ago. Yeah. Trump was saying Thomas Jefferson's statue is next. Oh, no, that's a conspiracy theory. He's totally wrong about it. Hey, guess what just happened last week?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Where's the... Here it is.
Okay, we're going to have to go with a big fuck off.
There you go. Patriot of the West. Out at the farm now. Give an OB to your guests for me.
All right.
An OB? What, an obstetrician? I don't think they need that. You guys want like a colon cleanse over there or something?
All good, thanks.
Yeah.
Ohio Trucker 1. When I was growing up, my grandpa's brother was a Zippo man. He had a similar view to Popp and Jeff. Still miss you, Bob. Oh, God bless him. Dung is fun. I don't want to know what you do on weekends, bro. The new Ghostbusters is really good. You got to watch it.
I heard it was okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take my boy to go and see it pretty soon. C.G. Roberts sent email to all 3 emails just explaining a super chat. Okay.
All right.
The joke isn't funny if you have to explain it. All 3 emails meaning, here it is. Here we go. Spin up Popp. Good evening, guys. So I made a super chat. I don't think we've gotten to it quite yet. Let me see here. A few weeks back, about the USS Harvey Milk needing an ice cream truck bell. No one batted an eyelash, so I wasn't sure if you guys had heard that they named a U.S. Navy ship after a gay pedo named Harvey Milk. Yeah, I saw the movie. Who was an admitted pedo who had relations with 15 and 16-year-old runaway boys he would find on the streets. And they conveniently left that out of the film. Of course, the left doesn't call him a pedo. They gave him some stupid name, BS. They changed the name of the ship weeks before they finished it and cleaned all the original build name of the ship. My father-in-law served with Harvey Milk and called him a kitty fucker when he saw the ad for the Sean Penn movie about the guy from the early 2000s, which he won an Oscar for, naturally.
Oh, yeah, naturally.
I mean, it's not like Hollywood is totally made up of pedos or anything, and actors like Mel Gibson routinely get tossed under the bus because they call it out.
Yeah. Now, I listened to some of his rants, and he was drunk.
A little
and
bit.
that happens.
But, hey, we can't point a finger for drunk rants.
Yeah, so. I drunk rant all the time.
You?
Yeah.
No.
Who knew?
No. This is my surprised face.
Yeah.
Shocked. Just shocked.
Shocking.
There we go. All right. View at your own risk with a chat here. How do I get into Popp's Preppers? Email, redonkulas12@gmail.com. And most of the supporter-only streams on Thursdays have been dedicated to a lot of the prepping stuff.
Yes.
So,
and I just sent out a newsletter a week and a half ago.
Yeah, so sign up, guys, if you like. Patreon, Subscribe Star, Locals, get access to free Thursday streams with the man.
And I believe I sent that newsletter out with one of the most current sniper FMs the U.S. Army has.
Nice. The fucking. Drunk women are fun until they're yours. Words of wisdom, the fucking. Words of
I like
wisdom.
that.
Yes.
Oh, boy. AF, got another Urban Dictionary one.
Oh, no.
Screaming seagull.
Oh, God.
Do I even want to know?
No.
Okay. While having sex on the beach, you remove your wiener and dip it in the sand, then you reinsert. The result is the screaming seagull. Oh, there was a few of them here. When you're doing it, do it on the beach. You pull it out, roll it in the sand, cram it back in. Okay, so there's not like a whole bunch of different ones here. This is
Pretty much the same thing.
Oh.
Come on now. That's a blue falcon.
It is a blue falcon.
Yeah.
Woo. I love this show. Okay. Looks like we may have some more emails here coming up here. We'll see where the references come in, if they do. Talbot links, governor contractor employees lose jobs. Government contractor employees lose jobs in February, if not fully jabbed. That was just blocked today by a federal judge.
Yeah.
Contact changes, not OSHA regs. Losing my job making PPE in January, apparently. Well, that was blocked, just like all the rest, because that's what happens when you're a dictatorship and you think that you can just do whatever you want without the consent of the courts, the legislature, or the Constitution.
Absolutely correct.
The only time he even looks at it is when he looks down to see what he's wiping his ass with.
You assume he wipes his own ass anymore.
Oh, yeah, Jill probably takes care of it. There it is.
What
I keep these things around for a reason. Dick Burns, question to Brett. With rampant media lies, who and what outlets are still somewhat trustworthy? My Dem friends and SF trust Bill Maher and NBC.
I've actually talked about it because I've gotten to meet the Project Veritas crew behind the scenes and talk to them and actually witness some stories and fact checking going on behind the scenes, and I was blown away. And they actually gave me hope that there are journalists out there, because they were in the middle of getting some inside information, and they went through hoops. They jumped through hoop after hoop after hoop to make sure this was accurate, to make sure that it wasn't a honeypot, that it wasn't, that this person was who they said they were, and verified every aspect of the story before even going forward with it. And you can even look at the whole diary thing that was just with them recently. They had the Biden diary come in front of them, and they verified it, and they said, "Oh, this doesn't look right." And they got rid of it, and they pushed it away, and they didn't publish it. They didn't do anything with it.
Oh, just like the laptop.
Yeah.
The laptop that has since proven to be legit, even though we already knew that.
Yeah. There are people out there. There are reporters out there that want to be objective, that want to do it, but the corporate overlords are keeping them from doing it.
You want a paycheck, you toe the line.
I think we got to figure out a way to get to those people and let them know, no, stand up, we're behind you.
Well, it's going to probably, they're going to have to probably pass some laws where the Constitution of the United States applies to all its citizens, in regards to the government and any dealings you have. I mean, this is insane. Like, I just got kicked off PayPal, and they won't tell me why.
Yep. Yeah. Allegedly, we violated some portion of their commerce regulations, but they won't tell us what that is, and attempts at contact have been completely ignored. So we're going to have to send a lawyer and the FDIC after them. It's just that's how it's going to have to be.
Well, that's that's one thing that's going to have to start happening. Is, I mean, in the past, I've growing up, my family, we had lawyers because of some of the stuff my father was doing. And so we had lawyers. I have one. And I've had situations where something has popped up, and I have one conversation with people. I was like, "What's going on?" They say this, that, and the other thing. The very next conversation they get is, "Hello, my name is so and so. I represent Mr. Price," and all of a sudden, everything changes when that happens. And I don't like the litigious nature of the United States. I really don't like it. No. But this is the world in which I live.
Yeah,
and so I learned how to live in it.
Yeah, and I've said this before. Is I shouldn't have to pay somebody $300 an hour just to have my constitutional rights enforced.
No.
Yeah.
That needs to be fixed.
It's one of these things where I have a lawyer basically on retainer all the time. I just pay a certain amount every month that we've agreed on, and anytime something pops up, she handles it.
All right,
and
cool.
Like I said, I don't particularly like that I have to do that, but it has been worth my while to do it.
I gotcha.
But it's just it's a pain in the ass, but it's the world we live in, and so I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but I'm saying I've that's the step I've taken.
Well, we don't make enough money for that right now.
Right. It is something that I've done, And I said, I don't like it, but it has helped me when someone, business related or something else that says, well, because of this, because of something you said, because of something you did. And I give them one chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is they get a phone call. And I've had a lot of situations resolve themselves very quickly. But once again, it shouldn't be like that. And unicorns and rainbows and whatever else,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but it is a symptom of the sickness in which we deal with.
Mm-hmm. Well, ideally, I would like to have my PayPal thing turned back on, but if not, and we have to file, I would like to go forward until I get to the point where we have discovery.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask for all the emails, everything that, in regards to my fucking channel or
because I guarantee you it was an organized
Yeah.
flagging raid,
Yeah,
probably by somebody like Gabe who didn't like having his mental illness questioned on the air.
Yeah, I gotcha.
don't care.
Yeah, we don't care.
But
But,
play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
But the thing is, it's like, even if I don't win, I still have that discovery, and I'll just take it public.
Yep. All right, Talbot Links. You see that they skipped G in the alphabet? Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Could it be because of a certain Winnie the Pooh Dick Taster shit over in a certain sweet and sour country?
Where the infected bats are? Yeah, I got you.
Directly responsible for the EIU. Just saying. Dick Burns, but Veritas is investigative journalists. I wonder about those who report real news, even controversial. I started watching Epoch Times because they are the only ones who actually speak about poke results. Epoch Times is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of it too is us not just settling for other people telling us what the news is, that we have to read different sources ourselves.
Well,
and see what the
It's the old system where, when you're gathering intelligence, you don't just trust one source
fuck no.
or one grouping of sources.
Uh-huh.
That's why we post the sources for every stream on the website afterwards. We're sitting here, drinking and cracking jokes. So at the end of the day, it's up to you guys to make up your minds, and that's why we put all the receipts up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can read it for yourself.
Yes. Talbot Links, contractor changes weren't blocked in all industries. Yeah, I know. It seems like it's a bit at a time kind of thing. It's not getting covered in the news. It's some Darth Vader contract BS altering the deal further. Yeah, that sounds about right. AF, do you have any ejecto-ceto relation shit lawyers near CENTCOM?
Well, we do have a list of all of the poke lawyers on the website, Redonkulas.com.
Yeah, and that might be old.
It is. It's from the beginning of August.
Okay, we need to find like a more recent PDF and update that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that the website is on the PDF. We just have to go there and get a new one.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm sure it's getting updated all the time because there's going to be people out there who are going to smell money in this. And
Well, first of all, I mean, you guys can agree with the fact that this is all, it's unconstitutional.
yeah,
So if you're going to have companies doing unconstitutional shit,
yeah,
there's a lot of litigation, and lawyers like money. So if they're going to fuck up by the numbers, there's got to be a bunch of lawyers just like, hey, it's free money, fuck it,
yep.
let's do this.
Talbot Link says, also, it's January, not February. You're more dyslexic than Pop tonight, Blake. Straw. I said January.
Doesn't matter. Dyslexia.
Batting it away like a bastard. All right, let's jump over to MGTOW.tv, see if we got anything over there. Yes, we do. Ballistic Zero with 4 out of 5 donations. All right, one-time winning. I got a good idea, Ferry here. Why don't you guys get a P.O. box and stream to other sites? That should work. I've heard of this cool place called MGTOW.tv. You should check it out. Noff.
We already do that.
Sarcasm rhymes with orgasm. How are the kimchis going to win against us in sports? Aren't they like vegetables and shit?
Nice.
I like it. Pansexual. 1. The act of placing your penis inside of a panfish while it's cooking inside the pan. And 2. The dead fish gaze your mom had last night.
I'll tell her I said hi.
We're north of the Yo Mama line. You can get away with that.
Yeah.
Quick AAR. What was supposed to happen? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Were you fucking with it?
Yeah.
I got bit by a snake. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Let me see it.
Yeah, I've heard
Were
that
you
before.
fucking with it?
I'm like, oh, so let me get this straight. You're just minding your own business, and a snake jumps out of nowhere and bites you. Yeah, because that happens all the time.
Sure.
Were you fucking with it?
Oh, but quite a good screen name here. Liver Damage with a donation on MakeDown.tv.
All right.
Speaking on behalf of all of us, I guess. Thank goodness for all the work Project Veritas does. It's hard for lefties to deny their Marxist thinking when it comes out of their own mouths. Oh, but they try.
They try. They try.
Yeah.
They do try.
Just the fact that I searched Project Veritas, Brett Mauser tonight, and got nothing.
I mean, I'm wondering how that lawsuit is working out for him.
Oh,
Against
James
the New York
O'Keefe
Times?
with the
Yeah.
New York Times?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that for a while.
Because
Well, they keep you up. They keep you updated. They on their website. They just had something recently. I think just last week. O'Keefe himself came on and kind of gave step-by-step process as to what they're doing now.
good.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, he tries to keep people informed. So
Yeah, he's one of the few people out there doing real journalism. Shovel Monkey on Odyssey. Get the Black Book of Communism, ISBN number 0674076008-7. It's around $50 on Amazon. Worth every penny.
We got to write that down. We might need
Write
that.
that down. Oh, here we go. I got to put on my French accent here. Hang on. Gotta loosen up the mouth here. François Le Chatain. I am sick and tired of being called a conspiracy theorist who falls prey to misinformation or worse, who commits it just because I want to do my own research instead of blindly listening to or watching the lamestream media. However, there are the mainstream media organizations not the ones that have both the best means and every reason to be capable of misinformation. As well, I am sick, no pun intended, and tired of constantly hearing them and other authorities tell us to get the poke and smoke. Gosh, it is such a damn idea fixe obsession with them.
You sound like a drunken idiot.
That's pretty good.
I sound like a drunken
because I started
Montreal
flashing back.
hobo just laying there on the sidewalk. I don't know what
I
you're
like
talking about. Wine Blakey, he doesn't exist. He's allergic to sulfide.
French accent.
If you make me some toast and you
cartoons.
soak it in eggs, I kill you. Calebon, KK, the killer of Star Wars, Cuntleen Kennedy, as I call her, said herself that there was no additional material to work with beyond the movies. They ignored the legends and the expanded universe to make the Disney Star Wars fanfics.
And they basically just repackaged the same plot from the original Star Wars.
Pathetic.
I mean, come on.
I mean, seriously, how much better would a piece of shit like The Last Jedi have been if the character we actually gave a shit about in the first movie, which was Finn, if they didn't have to recycle his character arc, and then that last scene where all of a sudden Rey is able to hover the rocks, if she just couldn't do it, and then all of a sudden they start to float, and she's like, oh, I'm amazing, and then next to her is Finn, and he's like, fuck you, bitch, I got this. That would have been so much better, and it would have made the whole movie worth it. Except for the whole part where they basically forced open Luke Skywalker's mouth and shit down his throat.
Yeah.
Fuck that. And fuck Ryan
That's what I'll
Johnson.
never understand is how you don't get the three biggest characters in all of American cinema, and you have the chance to put them in a movie together
And you kill
and
him.
make back your 4.5 billion like that,
Yeah.
and you don't.
And you
kill
kill him.
one of them off.
Yeah, you kill them one by one after you make Han a deadbeat dad.
Uh-huh.
And you make
They-
Luke the most optimistic guy in the galaxy, a suicidal, cranky old man who wants people to get off his lawn.
Who drinks green milk.
Green,
It's one of the
green
things that-
monster titty milk, yeah.
Talking with and what went wrong, one of the things we did is like they took a character who, I don't know, went onto the friggin' Death Star and a suicidal mission to try to save the soul of his father.
Yep.
Right. He knew he wasn't coming off that thing. Right. He just knew, because how would he?
Yeah.
But instead he went, and so you have a character whose arc is supposed to end by saving his father.
Yeah.
How optimistic, how open-eyed, how amazing of a person could you be?
Yeah.
And the next time you see him, he's like, "Sorry, kid." Like, the fuck what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you had Han Solo once again. I'm not even a Star Wars fan. I like characters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know, you had him who started off being the kind of the deadbeat rogue who's doing his own thing, you know, just trying whatever. And all of a sudden he becomes a war leader, a general, a love of the princess. You know, he goes from being this kind of like scoundrel to war hero, right? In a period of a couple of years.
Yep.
Yeah. And an honorable one at that.
20 years goes by and he's back to being the scoundrel and the rogue, deadbeat dad, left the princess behind. I was like, the fuck are you doing with these characters?
It's a complete and utter abomination from the ground up.
Like I said, I'm not even a Star Wars fan. I just like characters.
I got you.
The only reason I do movie anything is because of him.
Yeah.
But because I actually can't watch movies. I don't have the patience for it. They're just anyway. But they do these things, and it's just another example of someone who doesn't love and appreciate what they have, blowing a corporation's money for their own agenda.
Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy sat across from George Lucas and promised to honor what he had created. She had known him for decades and bold-faced lied to him.
Right to his face.
Just to get him to take the money so that she could drop trow and shit all over everything he created.
Well, now the problem is that people are shitting all over her.
Yep. And they still extended her fucking contract for another 3 years. Wow.
And another thing we talked about is how, Disney was like, just do whatever. And all of a sudden the pandemic thing happens, or can I say that?
You can say that.
And all of a sudden Disney's losing billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Good.
I mean, $18 billion or something like that.
I hope they go
under. The only
thing
you could say is, boy, it sure would be nice to have your Star Wars fans helping you out.
Yeah.
It would be, yeah.
Would be great.
But we don't give a shit.
Yeah, and so it's just one of these things to where they thought they could do whatever,
and
here they are lying on the ground, bloodied and beaten, and the Star Wars fans are looking over going, hey, that sucks, huh? See you later.
You look like you could use a hand.
Boy, you look like you got the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, and they're losing money on most of the Marvel movies now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a really sad state of affairs when you've got sure things that are being pissed away.
Well, and that's
the
idea of the progressive is they another thing, I keep talking about things we've talked about because he and I have had 100 and something of these things, but one of the ideas is the progressive builds their world, right? And this is their idea of who they are and what they are, and it's all these progressive ideas, it's all these liberal ideas. And the problem is when you start pointing out, well, that's not right, that's not going to work, it puts cracks in their little world. Well, they can't have that. And so they'll put their fingers in their ears and say, no, you're lying, no, you're a misogynist, no, because they would do anything to keep from having to have the self-contemplation to change their worldview. They do anything, including telling you that you're lying.
Or you're a phobist.
Including the news saying, no, we're not, that's not what we're doing, including them saying we're not going to be objective because if we're objective, it's going to put holes in our world.
Yep.
And we're going to get back to that. I want to have Brett talk about a couple of the things that he didn't get to talk about or that were cut out of the Veritas video, but we have a couple more chats here.
All right.
Solo Nights. I know this is off topic, but it's about the Live from the Lair. Disney's Proud Family isn't about LGBTQ WTF-LOL. It's worse. It's a reboot from an early 2000s cartoon about a teenage girl and her father who happens to be black and her dad is the breadwinner. There's not a lot of black families, and it looks like it got cut off.
Yep.
There's not a lot of black families out there that wind up with the dad at home, unfortunately. 72% are born out of wedlock.
Yep.
Whoopsies. I don't know. I'm a bigot, though, because I'm telling the truth. Sorry. All right, that covers all the chats that were on there at that particular point. Now, Brett, you mentioned that the 7-minute video or so that Veritas put out, there were a couple of key things that they didn't talk about in that video or that were cut out for expediency. What do you got?
Well, I definitely, first of all, I definitely understand why they did that. They were able to keep it much more focused because some of the things delved into some of the mask issues. I stood up against the mask policy. And this was some of the behind the scenes, the body cam, the secret body cam footage that I had, where I confronted the manager. Actually, the manager called me into the principal's office to scorn me for not having a mask. And I said, well, the policy says it's recommended. If it's required, I'll wear the mask, but the policy states recommended. And it was, he started off with sort of this, well, I'd consider it a very personal favor if you would wear the mask. And I explained to them, no, I don't feel comfortable wearing it, but I'm not required to, I'm not going to. And it slowly moved up into, well, it's a strong recommendation that you wear the mask.
When?
And eventually I pulled out, and he started defending it, saying, well, a lot of our personnel are very scared they're going to bring it home to their kids. And I brought up,
Who are
well,
virtually
kids are not really affected by it.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm not going to debate the science with you. And I started explaining, well, and he said, well, no, it doesn't matter. This was my favorite quote was, people are afraid. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll drink to that.
And I'm going to tell you, people who answer with that frame of mind or that mindset, they're not leaders.
Yeah.
Sheep.
Yeah. And this is a news station. And if you think that that's how they treat their employees, that they're willing to let fear reign among their employees, do you think they're going to have any problem letting fear run rampant on the outside of the station?
Oh, hell no. They have no problem with that.
Fear gets ratings. Fear sells.
It does. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they love it when a cop, puts his neck on puts his knee on the neck of a dude and he winds up dead from a fentanyl overdose because they can sensationalize that, cause violence and division, and make money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They love when that shit happens. They cry their crocodile tears on the air and well, think of the children. Well, by the way, donate to Planned Parenthood. The fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, and just before I left, something very similar. It was that there was a supposed stabbing in the local jail here, and the stabbing victim's wife went to the station and said he was stabbed 28 times, something like that. And when they went to the sheriff was like, well, we're still investigating. We don't know. And I got some of the behind the scenes footage saying, well, her soundbite is really good, talking about 28 times. And we're going to be covered because if it winds up not being true, she's the one that said it, not us. So them being able to go forward with that and just saying, well, that's what she said. So no waiting for the facts, no waiting for the official report and find out what happened.
Yeah.
Instead, they're going to throw that out there and cause outrage against, the sheriff's department now. Oh, the sheriff's department not keeping the prisoners safe. Well, you're getting that from the wife who just happened to say that with no evidence. Can we wait until we hear the evidence, please? So that's just yet another one of the examples.
Wow. And there was, let me bring it up here. Take a look at this here. This one we saw in the video, if I remember correctly, the diversity one. But then there was this.
Yes.
Inclusive
Yes,
coverage is not listing the pros and cons of a position, talking to both sides. Are there always equal arguments from each side? Wow. They're supposed to be. Opposing interviews. Instead, seek thoughtful interviews which may fall anywhere in the spectrum of an issue. Covering only the obvious stories. Whose voice haven't we heard from? Just info, no context and perspective. When info about events is everywhere, it's up to us to help viewers understand.
Yeah. And remember, that's what inclusive journalism, which they're teaching, is not supposed to be anymore. You're not supposed to talk to both sides. Right there in plain English.
Wow.
But yet I misinterpreted it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. The context is for pussies. Oh, my
All right.
man.
So how many people we have watching now?
Yeah, 793. We were up over 800 for a little while. We're being seriously throttled tonight. Maybe there's some other creators out there doing some streams. I know Undead Chronic was at some point.
Yeah.
And apparently he also got his PayPal nuked just recently.
Huh.
So it's going around.
It's going around.
Like the coof. Sweet and sour sniffles. Anything else of note stick out to you from this whole insanity of fake news, Brett?
I'm just glad I had an opportunity to present this to everybody, to give you some evidence, give you some evidence that you can take to people to Thanksgiving dinner and argue with,
Right.
and say, look, this is the official training we're getting. It did just blow me away, especially when they said, we're not supposed to be objective anymore. what? This is
Wow.
This is a nationwide training. This isn't just some nut job that comes into a station and talks to a couple people. This is their national training, teaching people not to be objective. And I just couldn't believe my ears. And I didn't really even consider myself, I was never wanted to be a journalist.
Yeah.
But I was a journalist, a photojournalist and whatnot, but that wasn't my goal. And here I am realizing I've got more ethical journalistic ethics than 90% of the people that I'm working with who do want to be reporters and journalists and news people.
I mean,
and it just blew my mind.
I know, and it's blown my mind as well. I mean, I just can't believe the shit that's going on, and I just can't sit there and do nothing. I'm just not that type of guy. I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, and that was something that I came to Jeff to say, hey, am I doing the right thing? And it was a tough back and forth. But one of the things we talk about in our show is about ethics and integrity and standing up for what you believe in and not just rolling over. So who would I have been if I'd have seen this all happening and stayed silent and not done something? I had to. It was my duty as an American.
And one of the things about Brett is you'll learn if you hang out with him is he researches, he studies. We have taken road trips where we have, this is going to sound, geeky as can be, but talked about historical events in a context where it's like, what if it happened today? Mm-hmm. Where would we be if we saw the train cars of Jews going by? And what would we do if we saw something like that happen? And so most people don't ever think that they're going to have those kind of situations thrust upon them. But when he sat me down and says, okay, let me tell you a little story. And then he started talking about what was going on. And I was like, holy crap, this is it. I mean, this is your opportunity. This is where it is. You get to finally be that person who gets to, speak to power and authority. And I've been very impressed with everything you've done, boy. Yeah.
And here's another thing that I use that really pisses off the leftoids. Is whenever I hear them like, yeah, you should just do this, you should do that, I'm like, you know what? Remember when you were in high school and you had to read that book, Diary of Anne Frank? And the only reason she's not alive is some people turned her in. Well, you're one of the people that turns people in. They hate it when you tell them that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It's true.
That's why they get mad.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, and it's that whole da-da-da-da-da-da. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it.
Built their world.
Yep.
And hopefully, like the left, ever since Occupy Wall Street, they've been planning this to happen. They've got their finances in order. They've gone to great lengths to have this opportunity that they're using right now. The right hasn't really done much, so we're playing catch up now. So hopefully,
they're still, the right's trying to be too nice, and I draw the line there between the right and Republicans, because Republicans nowadays,
they're traitors.
Yeah.
They're traitors. Let's just be nice. That's a nice word.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what you've got up there at the federal level
are coward traitors.
Cowards and evil people. You put those two things together, guess which side is going to get more done?
Yep.
Yeah. Then it comes down to the establishment, and I didn't, I don't want to be this political. I don't want to be doing this. I just want to go up and make my movies. But when I see everything else that's going on around me, I've got to use my movies as a voice in some areas. I've got to stand up. And until about 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't even really look at anything as the establishment. I understood there was an establishment, but I didn't realize that everybody was a part of the establishment until, Trump.
Yeah, well, moving forward, I would love to be able to team up with you and work on some of your projects and
absolutely
make some new shit. Because if Hollywood is not going to put out good entertainment, then why can't we?
And this is where people like your audience. This is where people like your audience can help make that stand up. When you make films, when you and I collaborate on something, when there are people like me that are out there, go support us. And it's not even money out of your pocket. Like one of our films is on Amazon Prime right now. It doesn't cost a dime if you have Amazon Prime. just go check it out and don't, and leave a nice review. And it lets people know that, let other people see those things. It's the grassroots that can change things, and not, it's going to require, when that next Marvel movie comes out, when Captain Marvel 2 comes out, don't go and see it. And you're going to have to hurt them in their pocketbook.
Yeah, which I will not.
I will not.
Yeah.
No, I will.
I mean, even the latest James Bond, I can't do it. I mean, I used to be,
We were James Bond guys.
Yeah.
Man.
really weird and strange ritual, but my mother and I used to always go see James Bond movies. That was sort of, our Christmas, thing that I just did with my mother, and we don't go anymore. And especially with this last one, it was like, you did what to Bond? No, I'm done. No, I'm out. It's over.
Yep. Yeah, and you're familiar with what's happened to Doctor Who in England.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit! You want to talk?
Don't get him started.
You want to talk about torpedoing an established character that has had what 30 some odd years?
50 years, and Chris Chibnall can burn in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything could have rivaled Star Wars fandom and Star Wars love, it was Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, the Whovians are out of control.
Yeah, and they've royally fucked that up. And I don't think they're going to be able to recover.
Not in generation.
Yeah.
No, it's going to take a long time.
Yep. And they did it to themselves.
Fuck 'em. All right, we got some more chats here before we end tonight. Drill Sergeant Death by Buttfuck. Check your email, booty swiper pop, Mexican ass and tits. You ready for this? It's up on the screen here. I can't put it on there because otherwise YouTube will restrict the stream.
Let me see it. That's nice.
That's pretty good. I think she knows that it's open in the back.
Yeah. It's
Probably does.
party in the front and business in the back.
Yeah, it's probably true. Put it up there just for a moment for you guys. Check that. All right, there you go.
There we go. All right. I like it. I like it.
Jimmy Bones. Welcome to the chat, good sir. Hope this doesn't get you guys banned, but a stunning and brave BIPOC individual went on a racist rant against whiteys calling for a genocide. Called white people mayo monkeys. Well, my reply to that, I'd rather be a mayo monkey than a porch primate. Cue
Damn.
the thug life.
Damn.
That's brilliant, Jimmy.
Damn.
I had to do it. Had to do it.
What are you going to do?
I play stupid games, win stupid prizes. All right, we got shark dentures here. Get woke, go broke. Get poked, get smoked.
Unfortunately, I think we're going to see a lot of negative effects from this experimental thing they've pushed on us.
Yep.
It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, and then the other one that I like recently, I would love to put it on a T-shirt. Everything woke turns to shit.
Which it does.
Yeah.
Totally true.
I have seen beautiful women get woke and get broke. Like,
Yep.
psychologically. You could just smell the trauma coming off of them through your TV screen. It's just it's terrible. Hound Dog 50. Pop, I know like boozes. Wow. I know like boozes that drown out all the craziness, but for me, there ain't enough weed to smoke or eat to drown out all this craziness that goes on.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. You can only damage your liver so much before you realize people are still stupid.
No, you can't drink away stupid.
No. I mean, you can drink until you can tolerate it and then leave some money on the nightstand and kick her out, but that's about it. Dick Burns, what's the chance we will have states or feds level following Oklahoma's bill on suing employers over poke bad after effects? I'm losing my job over poke mandate at Facebook, even if feds can't push it.
And you have a case.
If it sets a legal precedent in Oklahoma, it'll spread.
Yep.
That's how the system is supposed to work anyway.
Yeah.
We all know that it doesn't always do
What it's supposed to do? No.
No.
Shocking.
Shocker. You want to smell it.
Yeah.
The fucking history is decided by minorities who fight, not majorities who vote.
Yeah, it's valid.
Yeah. Suppose that is true.
What are you going to do when a majority shows up to fight you?
That's true.
Then you're really fucked.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Antifa can read something like that and think, that's right. We're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a skateboard? Ah! Run the other way. I thought it was just a toy. Can't be a deadly weapon. Oh, wait, somebody got murdered at a Starbucks in Santa Ana with one. Decisions. Evil Zombie Toe, a question for all of you mind readers out there. No.
That was, I like that.
I like that one. I've always wanted to do the George Carlin thing because back in one of his old stand-up routines, he said, I always wanted to just be that guy in the background to one side of the news footage who says it, but they don't say it out loud. You move your lips to it, and all you do is say, I hope all you stupid fucking lip readers are looking in. Classic Carlin. I miss that guy.
We miss him.
Yeah, I was very lucky I got to see him live just a few years before he died in 2002. Smooth Criminal. Funny that Omicron came at the same time as the Ghislaine Maxwell case getting started, and no coverage of that, but some rich people have been warned.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard some of the details of the testimony. It's not exactly flattering.
No. And haven't they, stricken that so it's, sealed or secret? Which is bullshit.
Wouldn't shock me. You're going to see a lot of bullshit distractions come about in the next couple of months while this trial is going on. Extraction Expert with a $20 donation. Thank you so much. Damn close to buying a good horse, grabbing my rifle, and possibly riding off to the hills. Mountain Man escape plan. Can I get an amen and a straw?
Come to Texas.
Amen.
Yes. Can go down there and hook up with a lady lawman. It's not a crying game thing. It's throwback. America the Free. # liberalism is a mental disorder.
Yes, it is.
It literally is.
Yeah,
We have the research and the studies to back it up.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say liberalism is that. I would say leftoidism is the mental disorder. True liberal values are fine.
Well,
What they have become.
the classic liberals just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Smallest government in their shit as possible, and they'll just live their life.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that too. But what the Democrats have become is not liberalism.
They want to put their fucking boot on your neck and just suffocate you till you die.
Yes. I mean, they've always been the party of slavery, but why they were given the moniker of liberal in the first place is beyond me.
I have no idea.
Jeff Schroeder, I came down with the coof and took your advice where to get the paste. Just spread it on a cracker.
The shit works, man.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
It does work. I actually went and saw my chiropractor today, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we had it was like my whole family came down with it. Kids were fine. I got them real ivermectin." I'm like, yeah. It was great because there's a bunch of it's in a ritzy area where a bunch of leftoids live. So there's everybody in there is wearing a mask except for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the doc comes out, he's wearing a mask. As soon as he sees me walking back there, he rips the fucking thing off and throws it down. I'm like, yes! I know I started coming to see you for a reason.
Yeah, that's what my Russian doctor does.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Terrence, your chick hunting days are done.
Yeah, literally, I'm in the waiting room, and the nurse is like, you have to put your face mask on. I'm like, oh, okay, I put it on. I walk in there, and he's like, Terrence,
take it off.
You and I are men of action. We don't need this silliness. And he shuts the door.
Well, if he's actually looked at the research like we have, he knows
because my doctor is a former Spetsnaz medic from back in the Soviet Union days. And now he is a general practitioner in the United States. Who knew?
Hell yeah. Oh, I'm taking that bit when we had Z on the show where I got him to say that in his Russian accent. Oh, that's going on there. That's going to be a bit all day long. I might even put that as a soundbite on the board.
Nice.
You're going to die if you don't stop eating the pizza.
I love pizza.
Liver damage with another chat here. Dipshits tried to force me to take the white people are evil training today. 4 hours of conscious inclusion and unconscious bias. I told them to eat a dick. Luckily, nobody else can do my job, so they just let me pass.
Well,
Yes.
listen, in all honesty,
Winning!
Everyone has discrimination in them.
Everyone.
For them to like, oh, we need to make a world where there's no discrimination at all. Good fucking luck.
Or how about making a world that's supposedly anti-racist by fully embracing racism at its fucking core and then claiming that that's not what it is when it's coming from you?
Yeah.
Wow. It's like puking on a pile of shit.
Coming from a strict definition standpoint, I'd actually say it wasn't discrimination. Discrimination would be an actual act, and I think most of us have a prejudice, a prejudgment in our heads about certain things that doesn't necessarily motivate you to make an action based on that.
All right. I stand corrected. That's a better. No,
Sorry, I do that all the time.
That's a better selection of words. I'm just a grunt, man. But that was good. That was good.
Who let the smart kid in here?
Well, you know how it goes. I use a word with more than 3 syllables. Pop's like... But then every once in a while, he'll bust out something like, that's what magicians call prestidigitation. And I have to take a step back because I hear like the record skip in my head. Like, where did that fuck did that come from?
Yeah, I know. What can I say?
I mean, this is the same guy who's like, my name is Terrence Popp. You know, like he starts off every pop culture video and he'll blow those takes. And I'm like, dude, it's your name.
What do you want from me, man?
I don't know. You didn't get your double coffee fix that morning, I guess. It's all good. It's all good. All right, jumping back over to Streamlabs. Here we go. One more from Jackal the Emperor in the Bane voice. All those ranker wankers in the pic, that was me. I hope that wasn't you in the photo. Because if you're pulling some crying game shit,
that's gonna be a problem.
We don't do that here.
That's gonna be a problem.
You want to make Pop cry? That's how you make Pop cry.
Yeah, that was a bad day.
That was a dude's ass.
No, I literally got tricked to go see the crying game.
Oh, I know.
By a former girlfriend and her friend. We're in the middle of the theater. We get to that one scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I stand up. I'm like, it's a dude. The whole theater was just laughing. I'm like, I got homo ambushed. Oh my God.
How do you think the guy in the movie felt? He thought he was going down there to demonstrate his skills as a cunning linguist, and
no.
Next thing he knows, he's confronted by a skin flute.
Yeah. The meat straw.
He's not used to playing that organ in a cathedral. It's horrifying. Just downright horrifying. All right. Any last thoughts from you guys tonight? Thank you so much for coming on. And where do we find you? Most important thing.
Well, we've got 2 places. You can find us on notsosane.com, where you can find all of our stuff that's uncensored and doesn't have any beeps or anything like that. But if you jump over to our YouTube channel, Not So Sane Men, you can find our conversations and some trailers and things like that. So those are the best 2 places to find us.
All right.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
All right. We'll have to have you guys on again. This was a good time. And we'll just have you guys on again and talk movies, because that took up like half the damn stream.
Well, happy to do it anytime.
All right.
It was a good time. All right, Pop. Before you give your safety briefing, just so everybody knows, tomorrow, live stream at noon right here. Same bat channel, but not same bat time. And Thursday night, as always, for supporters on Locals, Patreon, and Subscribestar, Pop's going to be on there answering your questions and giving you prepper details.
And we might actually, I might go through that manual that I sent out to all the Pops preppers.
That's a good idea. So if you guys have not yet signed up for membership on those sites, you're missing out, because you get exclusive access to the man. And what is the largest number of people that you've had in the chat on those streams?
Like 36 people.
Yeah. So it's as good as you can get. That's not one-on-one at this point.
No, but, I mean, I talk to those. They send in their chats, and I make comments. We talk for like a couple hours.
Sweet.
It's pretty good.
And this was suggested to us. Let us know what you think in the chat. It was suggested that you start a Cameo account, so dudes can ask you to give like special messages for their buddies who are getting divorced, shit like that. Basically, they would send you what they want you to talk about and a little bit of background, and you just record it on your phone, or we record it here, send it in.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
You
that.
could be a dancing monkey.
Not really.
I mean, you're an evil hairless one. You might as well be dancing while you're at it.
If like say you're like somebody has a really good friend who's getting divorced and he's like fucked up in the brain pan.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, Pop, can you give him a message, help him out?" I'd do that.
Absolutely. All right. And I think we can end tonight with a safety briefing.
All right, everybody. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and swim. If you have to fight, don't go to the ground because that's where you get stomped out. If you have to pull out your weapon, shoot to kill, not wound, because that produces a lot of paperwork and has a lot of negative impacts on your life.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, everyone's favorite final rant of the night goes out to all of Brett's detractors. I'm sure he's going to have a lot more of them in the coming months here.
You and all your motherfucking friends, nigga. Give a fuck if y'all in kindergarten, I'll whoop y'all motherfucking ass. That's why Santa Claus ain't real, bitch. That's why I fucked your mama. I'll fuck up all your kids. I don't care, goddammit. Huh? Prove it to me. Prove it to me. That's why you ain't going to Disney World, bitch. Fuck you and your friends. Fuck all y'all.
Couldn't have said it better.
It never
I
gets
think I
old.
dated his sister.
This is why we love having these guys around, man. All right, we'll see you tomorrow afternoon, 12 noon Eastern. It's going to be a good one.
All right.
Bring your fat girlfriends.
Yeah.